Welcome, everybody, to my podcast. My name is Fahim, and you can see this illustrious looking space. Nah, it's not illustrious. I'm just playing with y'all. This is one of my booths that I have in my secret location, in my space where I do my work. My work is I do audio, I do mixing, recording, Pro Tools, I do mastering, and I also do video. So I said, you know what, this is a nice space to shoot a podcast out of. And yeah, welcome. This is my first podcast in my booth. I'm trying to think about some interesting topics. And one of the things I thought about is protection. This is going to jump into different things that I'm involved in, but protection in regards to business. I have a lot of equipment. There's multi-levels of protection. So there's protecting yourself and protecting your gear. So yeah, I have equipment insurance, and if you're interested in finding out about getting equipment insurance, the benefit of it, shoot me a message. We could have some little dialogue back and forth. I could introduce you to the people that I use for equipment insurance. And it's a very valuable thing if you have as much equipment as I do. So it's very valuable because if it's stolen, if it's damaged, if you lose it, like you lost it somewhere, you was on the shoot, you could get your equipment replaced, and you don't have to end your business, right? And I've used it once before in that capacity where my equipment was stolen, and it would have basically ended my business. I did lose work for a period of time until I got everything together. And I'm back up and I'm back running again. So that's one thing. And then there's personal insurance as well. Here's an interesting thing. So you see me in a booth, which I have something to do with music. Companies like record labels and businesses, they have this thing called Keyman Insurance. So Keyman Insurance is an insurance that helps you train a person in case your main person passed away and they were indispensable. They were somebody that, kind of irreplaceable, but you can train somebody to do the job they did and not have your business go out of business. So that's Keyman Insurance. And think about it like this too. Record companies need artists, and they take out these policies on their artists as well. So now we're going to talk about the personal insurance, which are the policies they take out on artists. These policies tend to be pricey if the artist is unhealthy. What do I mean by that, unhealthy? Well, what are some unhealthy behaviors? Drinking, alcohol uncontrollably, smoking, cigarettes, absolutely. It says it on the pack. Smoking marijuana too, even though it doesn't say it on the pack. I wonder why. Other drugs. So, and this is not just a hip-hop conversation, because addiction is in all genres of music that I know of. Jazz, R&B, rock, all types of things. And I'm not putting nobody down for addiction. I'm just saying that if you're a person who suffers from addiction and you are an artist or musician, it's going to be harder to get insurance because insurance companies will look at you as a risk, a higher risk than the average person, because you have an addiction problem or a substance abuse problem. They're like, well, we have the potential of having to pay out sooner than later on this person. So they have this in the music industry. Their policies will cost more. If they are insured, they will cost more, significantly more. So I'm talking to the individual now. So the individual, if you want a policy, life insurance policy, it's going to cost you more money if you are risky, skydiving, scuba diving, risky behaviors. If you are a pilot, if you are the flight crew, these things are kind of risky in addition to other things, right? And when you're applying for a policy, you have the option of doing a policy with no physical, which costs more, as opposed to doing a policy with the physical. And if you are in good health or great health, your policy premiums could be lower. So I'm bringing all these things up because I'm licensed in life insurance. And these are things that come up when you're doing policy. So if you're unhealthy, if you have risky addictive behavior, that could affect your policy. And I brought that up only because, in the industry, people are doing all kinds of things in the entertainment industry. And I'm just saying that the policies will definitely cost more money. Okay, so there are different kinds of policies. So if you're looking at getting a policy, you have what they say options. Options are like term life, whole life, universal life, index universal life. Those are different options. Now, we could break those up into two categories. One is pure insurance, and the other is cash value insurance. Those are the two things we can kind of separate them out into. Cash value insurance comes with a savings account. And I'll kind of explain a little bit about what that means, right? Where pure insurance is you are renting wealth. It is income protection, pure income protection. Why would I say something like renting wealth? So you're renting wealth, meaning that you do not have wealth yourself. You did not build up $500,000, $1 million, but you can get insurance coverage that provides that money if you pass away prematurely to your beneficiary. That's an interesting concept. I don't have wealth, but I can actually pass on wealth if I pass away prematurely by having an insurance policy. So most, if not all, policies say they'll do that, right? But here's some things that you should look at, and I want you to do a little bit of research. It's not hard, not going to be a test, but I want you to communicate with me. And I mentioned term, and then I mentioned cash value insurance. So let's look at one called IUL. Let's talk a little bit about IUL. Everybody knows the company Forbes, right? Forbes. Everybody knows Forbes, right? They give recommendations and things on what they think is good investments, bad. What did Forbes say about IUL? What did Forbes say about term? Google that. Hey, Google, what is Forbes' opinion on IUL? Do that. And then while you're at it, since you're already in Google, after you get that answer, ask Google, is life insurance retirement? Ask Google, is cash value life insurance an investment? And ask Google, what is an investment? Sometimes people don't believe it from a human. They're like, oh, I want to hear it from Google. Okay, Google, tell them, right? What is an investment? So I'm going to just give you what I see an investment as. I spend a certain amount of money, not this much, but I spend a certain amount of money and my gains surpass what I spent. That's an investment. That's a good investment. If you spend a certain amount of money and your gains are like down here, that's a loss. That's what it's called. It's a bad investment. Bad. Okay? So let's think about that. I'm saying that to say you're going to receive information from people who is in the business of selling policies. And they're going to call themselves a life insurance agent. But they're a salesperson. And a salesperson's job is to sell. So the motivation for a salesperson is, hey, I got these policies that don't really pay me a lot, and they might be the best for the customer because it's cheap, it's low cost for them, but it pays out a lot of money. Or I have these policies that pay me a lot of money and pays my company a lot of money, but they're expensive for the client. They don't give them the best investment returns. Now let's have this conversation about life insurance. See how I lined that up? You have people out here who are life insurance reps, agents, and financial advisors who will do what's right by the customer first. And then you have people who sell life insurance. And their goal is to make money selling life insurance and to make money quicker by selling more expensive life insurance packages. Oh boy, I'm going to get a lot of messages from people who sell these kind of policies, for people who make a mint selling these kind of policies that are not really good for the customer. Okay, I'll take those. Again, so let me get back to the point because I know my messages are going to blow up. I know a lot of people who's in this industry, and they kind of don't like what I represent. I represent term policies. Why? Least expensive, pays out the most, and you're renting wealth for a period of time. Well, don't you need insurance for your entire life? No, you don't need insurance for your entire life. Who told you that? You don't. So, what if I told you there was a way to rent wealth for a period of time and build wealth with proper investing over that same period of time that allow you to accumulate money and not need life insurance after that? Let me ask you, does Elon Musk need life insurance? Does Jeff Bezos need life insurance? Does Mark Zuckerberg need life insurance? They have a fortune they can pass on in case they prematurely pass away. So why is it that you're sold a product that you need for your entire life? That means that company has a customer for their entire life. That's kind of interesting, I'm going to say. So I'm going to say something that's going to be weird. All life insurance is term life. So I take a beating from people who know me. Oh, your company only sells one kind of product and they don't offer everything that everybody needs because everybody's life is different. All life insurance is term life. It's just different versions of term. So cash value life insurance is annual renewable term. What does that mean? Annual renewable term is term life where the policies increase each year you get older. Does that sound like a good deal? Each year you age, your policy goes up. Annual renewable term, which also will increase fees. It costs more to insure you because you got older. Well, it would probably be good if I got insurance while I'm at my peak of health at a young age and lock it in for 30 years. That is called level term. Level term is your policies are set and they do not increase. And those policies are inexpensive, but they pay out the most. There are reasons why people want to get life insurance. One, you may have something like a mortgage, and you may have a significant other, spouse, whatever you want to call them. And here's the thing about when a person passes away prematurely, the bills don't stop coming. So the mortgage is not going to say, oh, I'm so sorry, you lost your loved one. We're going to lower it for you. They don't care. They're not going to say that. So the mortgage is going to remain the same, but the income is gone. You can get a policy to cover the mortgage in case you pass, so you don't leave a bill for your survivor, and that person can still live in the house and not have to move or sell the house. The other reason is you may have people who depend on your income, a spouse, children, especially children. And when you get a policy for $50,000 or $100,000, the money will go in 1 to 2 years easy, because $50,000 is roughly the average salary, right? A year. You want to get 5 to 10 years of your salary in this policy, to whereas the person who receives it will have enough time to, put themselves through college, get a better skill set, get a better job, not have to pick up and move out of the place that they're living in. They're going to mourn you. So life insurance is not for you, it's for your beneficiary, right? So you don't leave a bill, but they will mourn you, but at the same time, they will not have a financial burden because of you, because your bills don't stop. And funerals cost money, which leads me to the third part. Some people just want insurance to cover a funeral. Like, I only want 50,000 or 25,000 to cover the cost of a funeral. Some people want that, especially older people. They have this thing called the theory of decreasing responsibility. When you're young, you probably didn't have enough time to build wealth, and you're starting out and you have young ones and dependents. So you want to probably rent wealth in the beginning and have high payout amounts for your life insurance because you're building all of these things. But as you get older, you should get like better with your finances and your investments, and you might not need as much money, right? You might not have as many dependents. You should not have a ton of debt. That's another key conversation piece. But this is what you're thinking about in the theory of decreasing responsibility. So you get life insurance based, on your age and your needs. Some people's like, hey, listen, I'm older. I just need to be able to get buried. Okay, so that's another one, right? And remember what I said, the older you are, the more your premiums cost is based off your age, unless you get what they call level term. The cash value accounts, the cash savings accounts are not level term. Here's another thing about cash savings accounts. Remember I told you about these salespeople who like to sell you stuff? They're going to tell you everything they think you want to hear so you can buy the policy because they're selling you something. But here's the sad part. After you sign off on the policy and read it, you're going to find out that it doesn't represent what they told you. You're going to find that out, and it's going to be disappointing. Like, here goes a few things I'm going to tell you. They say, oh, your cash account, they're going to give you two versions. They're going to say one version is basically guaranteed, meaning if the market is terrible, this is what you're going to get. You're not going to have a loss. You're going to have a gain, but it's not going to be a big gain. And they show you that when they show you what you're expected to get, right? And they say, this is if the market is doing average, boom, boom, boom. And they give you these numbers, right? The market is doing 7%. Yeah, but are you getting the 7%? The market is doing 12%. Are you getting the 12%? What if the market does 20%? There's a cap. They do tell you that. There's a cap. They usually cap at around 12 or 13, right? But there's a cap, and it could vary, right? And then they say if the market tanks, it'll be at zero, but you don't lose any money. So they say, you have a level of protection, which is cool, right? That sounds good. Sounds great. What are they fees that they charge you? And they are charging you fees. What are they? They're going to have a sheet with different breakdowns and different columns, and one of them is going to be fees. That's one of them. So even though the market is doing 10%, you're not going to get 10% because their fees are high. That's one. Two, what is the money invested in? Key question. And I'm going to say it this way. For some policies, it's magic. It's so magical because they're not invested in any of the indices. They're not invested in the market. So where they getting the money from? Poof. Mystery. Think about that. Now, Index Universal Life, from what I understand, IUL, I took the same test everybody else took. So I just want to make that clear. I took the same test everybody else took. So I understand what these policies are. IUL, and they say they follow the S&P 500, and some of them follow the Global Index Fund. But the money is not actually invested in the market. I haven't read a policy that said the money is invested in the market. So how are they getting gains? Okay, there's other policies that I've seen that are invested in the market, but these caps limit it. Again, if the market does 20% and you're capped at 13, your max is 13. Here's another thing about these policies. Oh, you're going to accrue so much money. Oh, that sounds dope. That sounds great. I like accruing money. How long is it going to take you to accrue the money? Many of these policies that tell you about these great gains, it's going to take you 30 to 40 years to accrue the money. And then I'm going to ask you a question. So here goes another question. You're going to need a calculator for this one. Calculate your monthly premium multiplied by 12, and then multiply that by 40 years to see how much in premium you would be paying these people to get the cash value in your savings account that they told you. Now, what if there was a way to pay for term, take the same money that you're paying into this investment at a 9% interest rate of return for the same amount of years? Tell me how much money you have. This is a compound interest calculator. This is what I want you to use. You could Google compound interest calculator, and you could see different calculators. I like the one from NerdWallet. And you can run these simulations. You're going to find that the cash value policies are inadequate in their gains. You're going to find it. If you find that it surpasses it, please send me that info, because I haven't seen one yet that does it. They're expensive. The gains are minimal. And it's a cash value. This is why they can't call it an investment account, because you need a securities license to sell investments. You need that. It's required. But you just need a life license to sell life. So they're not investments. And, you got people say, well, listen, you'll have $50,000 at the end of 40-something years. Who could retire off $50,000? It's just extra money. It's not retirement, right? Why do I have to spend $80,000 to get 50? Let me tell you two things else about these cash value policies. There's two ways to get your money out of the policy. You could take a policy loan and pay interest to the insurance company to pay back the loan, one, and you can terminate the policy, and that means cancel the policy. And they have to give you the cash value minus fees. Now, hold up. Don't run and do that. Here's the reason why. Some policies penalize you for canceling the policy. Well, if they're that good, why is it deterrent? What's the deterrent? Because they have to make a certain amount of money off you. Some policies front load their policy fees in the first 10 to 15 years and penalize you if you cancel the policy in the first 10 to 15 years by telling you will lose a large majority or all of your cash value depending on the year you decide to cancel it. It's written in the policy. By the way, I do policy review with no pressure for you to buy from me. I do policy review. I can tell you what your policy says. Okay? So I like term because the fees are extremely low to have your policy. And I want you to look at your actual policy if you have a cash value policy, especially the fees portion. More fees, please. Yes, thank you. Fees. I love fees. I love paying them. I don't love paying fees. That's how they make a large portion of their money. So I told you cancel the policy or you borrow the money. Now, there's a way you could borrow the money and you don't pay it back, which is going to reduce what they call the face amount. If you say, I want a policy for $50,000, that's the face amount. Most policies are going to tell you when you read it, even if you have cash value, the beneficiary will only receive the face value unless you picked option B, which allows the beneficiary to also receive the cash value, but it's going to cost you a lot more money per month to do that. All right. So these fees, these extra charges, how are they making money? Why this whole cash thing in the first place? Why this whole cash thing? So let's talk about that briefly. Look at what your actual policy costs for the insurance. There's a column for that. It's going to be pretty low because term insurance is low in the beginning, right? If you have the annual renewable term, generally in the beginning, is going to be low. Then it's probably going to increase throughout the years, and they're going to show you the cost. And then look how much money is going to your cash account. I'm not going to call it an investment. It's a cash account. Look how much money is going there. I'm going to have you process what that money is called. It's not an investment. I'm not going to call it an investment. That's how much you overpaid for insurance. And now they get to charge you a fee to manage the cash account on what you overpaid. Boy, oh boy, I'm going to get it. I know a lot of people is going to reach out to me on this. But it's the facts. I'm giving y'all the facts, right? And people's going to, rule of thumb, if somebody makes something sound complicated, then they're trying to get over on you. It's not supposed to be complicated. It's not supposed to be. You should be able to understand your policy. But it's hard to understand them, and they're written in such a way that it's like, oh, you got to duck through this door and roll under this barbed wire and, and then quack like a duck 50 times and then stand on your head, because they want to make it complicated so you don't understand what they're doing. Term insurance is simple. You're renting wealth for a period of time. And if you follow the systems that we have and you build your wealth, you can say, oh, cancel the policy in year 20, year 15, whatever the case may be. This is how we educate people about true financial freedom, financial literacy, generational wealth. You're not going to build that with a policy. Policies, look up what I said. Go to Google and say, is life insurance policies a good investment? Look that up. I'm not going to answer the question for you. I want you to look. There's search and then there's research. Go to credible sites like Forbes, right? Look up companies like AM Best. I'm not going to tell you what they do, but look up AM Best and see what they do, and then do some more research in AM Best. I'm setting you up to learn. Learning is the key to life. I just made that up. It's not really, but it's always good to learn. It's good to know what you're doing so people don't take advantage of you, because people take advantage of those who don't know. So if I make you all of these promises that you can, it's unlimited banking and be your own bank, that doesn't exist. It does not exist. Debt is debt. And profit is profit. People are going to sell you all kinds of things that doesn't make sense. Certain things, they need to make sense. I'm cautioning people who are listening to this to want to learn how to make sense. That's what I'm cautioning you to do. So no magical investments that accrue cash and it's not even known how it's happening, because the money is not invested in the market. And then they like, oh, we get to keep it if you pass away because you didn't check option B and you didn't pay us the extra mint that we require for you to get for your beneficiary to get the money. The average person is going to get life insurance and name a beneficiary. That person gets a check tax-free. No taxes involved. Things bother me about this life insurance because I have a lot of friends who sell it, and I don't think they're bad people. I think they were miseducated about life insurance. I really do, because it's not about what you make. It's about how you serve, right? This is my opinion, right? And maybe somebody's like, I'm in life insurance to make money. You're wrong, and that's your prerogative. You can feel that way. But if I'm in a business of service, I'm going to serve people, which means I have to help them make the right decision for them, even if it's going to decrease the gains for me. So that's called a fiduciary. And I'm striving to be that, and I live my life that way. I do not prey on people. I don't. So this is something that I'm very passionate about. Financial literacy. Nobody in my family is engaged in financial literacy that I know of. because we can't keep repeating bad habits. If we keep getting money and money goes, we don't know how to budget. We don't know how to do different things. So I'm going to basically talk about these things on this and have a dialogue with you. So this is Fahim. This is from the booth. I haven't thought of a name yet for this podcast, but this is my first one. Thank y'all for listening. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons. Talk to me. I want to have dialogue with you. You know, even if you sell the other policies, I don't mind having a conversation. But I did take the same test everybody else took, and some of these policies are predatory and they don't serve the long-term needs of the client. Last thing. This is a question. I think I know the answer. I believe I do, but this is a question I'm gonna pose out here, throw it out to the World Wide Web, to people who are viewing this. If you do get a policy for a large amount, is that an incentive killer for you to not have to work hard to build wealth? That's something I want you to think about. Does this? Well, I got a policy for $2 million, so I don't actually have to. I don't have to earn $2 million or accrue $2 million. This is something I'm just thinking about. We could talk music. We could talk film. We could talk a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, I got a few film things I want to talk about. Some past films, and yep. I'll see you in the next video.